G'day. We've got a bumper harvest of tomatoes, so I thought I'd just sort of fill you in on what we do. I know to many of you this is a pretty standard sort of a procedure, but there's a lot of people out there that know very little about what to do with produce from the garden. We have a lot of tomatoes. A lot of them are volunteers from last year's crop that went rotten, or the slugs got at them and they fell off and they reseeded, and so we've got them growing all over the place. I find it hard to keep up with them sometimes. We put in stakes, and one day they're not ready to be tied to the stake, and the next day they've gone too far. And if I try to tie them up then, well then they tend to break. So I just let them ramble. Just chucking some split ones into the bin for the chooks. Anything split goes in the chooks. Don't worry about the tomatoes being completely ripe and red unless you specifically prefer it that way. We don't. They're quite tasty. Quite tasty when they're orange. In fact, if you want to use them green, you can too. It just depends on your taste. Fried green tomatoes, I like those. So if it gets to the stage where winter's coming on and we're going to lose the rest of the crop, well then we'll just pick them green, and we can fry them or we can dry them. I've got some drying at the moment as I do this. I've got one tray full, and these are ones I'm doing now are going to be cooked. I've just got them in water here, so they're washing, they're clean. Any bugs or anything float to the surface, any dirt on them gets very loose, so it only has to be swirled around a bit to get it off. Any loose bits that are leaves and stuff like that I pick up will float to the surface like that, and I can just simply throw it in the chook bucket. Another split one goes to the chooks. Just got some new chooks, and they haven't been fed garden produce. They've never seen it before, and putting these split tomatoes in the run, and they go berserk for it. They actually prefer the vegetables out of the garden than to the chook feed. Obviously they do need to have some chook feed to fill them up. They can't survive totally on vegetables, but then again, I put in a new free-range pen. I know that sounds like a contradiction in words, free-range and penned in, but we sometimes have fox problems around here, so I fenced off a large area that's still got grass and vegetation, and they can run free in there. And whoops. And pick around in the ground and get bugs or whatever they like doing. So this is it. I'm just cutting the small ones in half and putting them in here to boil. I had a stack of big ones. I think they're called Romas. They're bigger than these, they're longer, they're not round, they're oblong. I cut those up for drying, because it fills up the tray pretty quick. And the rest of these I'm going to boil up, and then I'm going to put them in the Vicola bottles and the coal of them, so that will preserve them, and they'll go away. And until we need tomatoes in the winter, or for the chooks. You can see, you know, these are quite orangey and green in places, but they're fine. I picked them because like that because they're ripening now so fast that given 2 days I'm going back to where I already was picking tomatoes, and another batch have ripened. So if I don't get these done, there'll just be too many for me to handle. So another split one. So I tend to pick them when they're orange and red, obviously, and they taste great. So, you know, no point in waiting for them to ripen anymore, and then and risk the chance of losing them. I'd sooner get them like this. They're fine, stewed up. You can use them, you know, as a spaghetti bolognese sauce. In a stew. Another split one. Another split one. Of course, some of them are actually splitting in the water here. Some of them have been split outside. I pick everything because otherwise, you know, you've got to walk around with a separate bucket or a basket. I pick all of the tomatoes, everything, regardless of their condition, and I put them all into the same basket, and then I sort them when I come inside, and that way the chooks get a fair share as well as us, and they don't go to waste. Oh, that's another one that's splitting. As I say, as soon as they get, if you get a heavy rain, or even a light rain for that matter, when they get to this stage, the tomatoes will start splitting. And of course the same thing happens when I put them in water. The skins will split on some of them, but not all of them, obviously. But I don't distinguish between those that were split in the garden and those that are split in here. You can't tell. So everything split goes to the chooks. It's as easy as that. Some have spots on like this, in which case just cut them off. The rest of the tomato is just fine. It's probably more of an aesthetic thing than anything else. Once they're boiled up, there's no health risk for anything, but it's just an aesthetic thing. If I see spots on them, I just cut them off. And the chooks are going to get a good feed tomorrow morning. The split ones go to the chooks because, because I suppose that the tomato's open, and you know, you just don't want to risk the fact that they've got contaminated in any way inside with the tomato split. So it's just as easy to just chuck them out. Anyway, I'll add some still photographs. There's a slug bite again, where the slugs have been at it. Cut it off check where you've cut it off, make sure that's okay, it hasn't gone deep enough, hasn't gone too deep. Make sure you cut it all off and it goes. And that's just fine. No problem. Another one of the chalks. Like I say, you can dry them if you want. I've got some drying now, and I dare say there'll be some more that'll get dried as well as we go along. It's just another way of preserving them. Once they're dried, you can do whatever you want with them later. You can stew them up. You can put them in oil if you want. They're great. Another split one, another split one. Oh boy. I've still got some left in the fridge that we didn't have room for bottling before, so if I fall short in this lot, I'll add that and I'll bottle them. And of course I don't have to do a particular number for bottles. I can do one if I want to. But we generally do 4 or so at a time. As you can see, there's 4 big ones here. They fit in. They just fit nicely in the Vacola, and they're brought up to temperature, which I believe is 92 degrees. And I think the big ones have to be kept at 92 degrees for an hour and a half, I think. And I think the small ones are an hour. I have terrible short-term memory. With a wood stove, of course, it takes a bit of controlling. You can control the temperature by the taking off the top and putting it on again on the Vacola, and you can control it by which hot plate you've got it on the stove, and you can control it obviously by the vent at the bottom, just how hot the fire is burning. Just keep your eye on that temperature gauge and keep it at that 92 degrees if you can. A little bit hotter won't hurt. It'll go over to 95 and just bring it back down again. If they get too hot, you get this sort of effect where you get a lot of juice at the bottom. This is all juice in here, by the way, not water. You can put, if you've got a hot stove, you can put a tiny bit of water in the bottom just to start them off, but once they start cooking, the juices come out of the tomatoes, and they cook in their own juices. But if you get too hot, you can find the tomatoes have gone to the top of the jar and the juice has gone to the bottom. But look, it's no big deal. It's all good. So don't worry too much about that. You've got enough things to worry about in this world without worrying about whether you've got too much juice in the bottom of your Vacola jars. I think I've got about half a container here so far, so I should probably just have enough for another 4 jars if I've got any big ones left. If not, I'll be using some small ones. Anyway, I think I've just about covered everything, so I won't keep yapping on and doing the same things I've been doing. I'll finish it here and edit it later, and some more spots to cut off, and add some still photographs as well. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.